Hello chamber music lovers, welcome to the preparation time for another of our concerts for Unpulsed Chamber Music cycle of concerts. We're gonna talk today with Roxana, Lucia, Mihai, the soprano, for our concert number 8, Whose Life, Whose Love, Whose Love, Whose Life. So Roxana, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Where have you been studying?
Hello everyone, first of all, I'm coming from Romania. I studied in Cluj-Napoca as a singer, opera singer, then moving to a little bit to the west in Timișoara, and following my path I arrived in Italy where I met you actually. And suddenly I found myself in a situation that my path took me to here to Munich, to Germany, where I'm trying to find my way as a career as musician.
You studied basically opera singing, right?
Exactly.
What drove you to do chamber music? And as I understood well, that's the first time you're singing a whole complete cycle by yourself.
Challenge accepted.
How is this a challenge then?
Well, in Romania during the studies there is not this option as in Germany to split somehow the studies between opera and chamber music.
Mm-hmm.
So in Romania you kind of do a mix, but I never focused on lieder, and I don't think we have a very big tradition, especially with lieder outside Romania. We more the Romanian songs. Actually, in the summer I sang a bunch of the Romanian traditional songs, and somehow I came across with this project, and I gave myself this challenge to do an entire cyclus with Frauenlieben und Leben, Schumann, and after with sung a melodie populaire grecque from Maurice Ravel.
Yeah, but how is this different than preparing an opera, for example? How is preparing a song cycle where you are the only singer? How is this so different from preparing an opera role, for example?
Well, I took in detail the steps, and I gave myself the time to really focus on the words. Usually I probably took a bit more superficial this part somehow in the opera, but I gave myself this time to just speak the words, and that's a big difference. The bigger difference between how I was preparing my roles and how I'm preparing this cyclus. And there is another thing, I never sang so much in German, for example. So I always focus myself more on Italian language, which comes natural because of my background with the Romanian language, being a Latin language. And then with German, I found some difficulties in approaching this language somehow.
With Marijuana, we spoke a little bit about like, even in her own personal piano solo playing, she feels that it's always about telling a story. In the telling a story, now basically all the responsibilities on you, and there is no other colleague, and there is no other singer singing with you. Do you think it changes something on your technique, how you approach singing, when you do this by yourself?
For sure. I also sang a couple of concerts with arias from opera, and I'm singing as a solo accompanied by a pianist. Somehow I feel here that I'm not exactly solo, because I'm accompanying the lady, for example, in my tale, which is in an intimate way approaching to her, for example, in Frauenliebe und Leben. And
so you have a role to play in a way.
Somehow, yes, but I feel it differently somehow in chamber music. Maybe because the composer is so focused on the voice with the piano together, they become like a mix, a way more intimate than in the opera, where you feel that you focus yourself more about the technique somehow, and not so much on the words, though in everything it's important, also the words, and also in lieder. But somehow I feel a different approach this time than
Do you
the
think
opera.
you sing in some special, different way, or you sing with the same technique from the opera?
I tried. This was also one of the challenges, to bring the technique that I've learned in all these years in doing opera, to put it also in the lieder now. And I don't think I'm singing necessarily different, but it feels somehow different. So I think it's mostly spoken now, the text, than actually singing it. So yes.
Also, in our conversation with Marijuana, we're speaking about you doing a role now. We were speaking about the fact of, for example, in the Frau Liebe und Leben from Schumann, the concert will be of 2 pieces, as Roxana said, the Frau Liebe und Leben, and the song Melodie Populaire Grecque from Ravel. In the Schumann specifically, it's a whole story of a woman's love and life, but written by both a text writer is a man, and also the composer is also a man. What do you think this affects you? Do you think it makes it in somehow less honest or less artistic, or how does it affect your approach to the love of this life, the love of this woman being spoken by men?
Well, we chose the title also by thinking exactly on this thematic, or all the songs, the 8 songs written or composed by a man or written by a man and through the eyes of a woman. And we chose whose love, whose life, exactly because this question put us also to, or put me also to think. How is affecting me? Well, I am a woman of the 21st century, and this was a woman in the 19th century. Of course, there are some differences, how we live our lives, or how we approach life. But if we go, for example, at the personal life of Schumann, which he chose to be with a woman that was way ahead of her times, Clara Schumann. She was a famous pianist, and she did all these tours as a pianist by herself. And this cycle, actually, to put parentheses, is inspired by his year where he managed to marry Clara Schumann.
It was written in the year where he when he won the legal battle against her father. It was against their getting married.
I think it was 1840 that he also composed this cyclus and many other cyclus of lieder, but this specifically also by marrying Clara. So it was a win in the same time. So how I'm feeling about this? Well, of course I understand through the eyes of this woman how she's feeling about the love of her life, but she's dedicating her life completely. So in this case, for example, of course a woman of the 21st century would think that is a bit old-fashioned I don't get attached to this feeling necessarily, but I'm singing the words as
you can relate to this person. I can relate
to this person, yes.
And actually in one of the songs it says basically that no man can understand the love of a woman for her kid.
It's saying like it's a pity. It's a pity that he can't understand how is the love of a woman when she keeps the child in her arms, or how it is to be a mother.
Interesting paradox, being said by 2 men, actually.
For sure.
But this also relates to from one of the Ravel songs, where actually is a mother lamenting on the death of her son.
Yes, in the second song.
Why then the Ravel songs, basically? Then how does they connect together?
Well, it's a traditional life from an island in Chios, it's called, an island in Greece, which was invaded many times by Turks. And this lament of the mother is exactly for the sons going to war against the Turks. and you can really feel this desperation in a way in the second song of the cyclus. They are basically not necessarily based on a woman, but it's the life in that period of time in Greece while the Turks were invading this part of Greece. So the woman actually is in different parts, in different positions. Like, for example, at the beginning comes the groom to ask his future wife to come and marry her. So it's she is not necessarily active in this first lead. It's the song of the groom. Or in another one, it's about the women that are picking this mystic, I think it's called lentisque in French, the mystic tree that is like a raisin, that they are picking them up, and it's a song for them that are picking those
so very traditional folkly songs of people's lives.
You can really hear this combination of styles through Occident and and Orient. So it's between these two worlds there are some melodics, for example. And
you said, actually, you told me before that you kind of connect to this in some way. How is that?
Coming from the south of Romania, in the history of our country, for more than 300 years we are also invaded by Turks, and I can feel in our traditional music we got a big influence of their music, or of there is an influence in our music. So and also if we are going to the religious part, we are also an Orthodox country as Greece, and you can feel somehow also a religiosity in these songs, because it's probably purely connected with tradition, and religion is tradition in this way, or becomes tradition in this way. So I feel connected also. It came even easier to sing these songs somehow for me, even easier than the German part, also because of the French language. And the style, I think, the style how it was composed, and especially in the summer when I sang, for example, Enescu and Ravel, I realized that by singing them somehow it connects.
No, they also knew each other.
Exactly. So they probably get from the influences from both of composers.
Oh, so wonderful. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much.
We want to re-invite you all to come and watch our concert online through YouTube, through our YouTube channel. That will be this Sunday
at 7 p.m. and on the YouTube channel Post Chamber Music.
Thank you very much, and see you there. Bye bye.